folks, and thanks for joining us for today's episode. Before we get started, I just wanted to let everybody know where they can learn more about SwissBorg's crypto wealth management app. Just head on over to SwissBorg.com. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. We have a great guest on, CEO and founder of SwissBorg, a revolutionary wealth management app out of Europe that just launched 2 months ago after some long development. We wanted to catch up with him and kind of get feedback and his thoughts on how the success of the launch went now that we're 2 months in. I'm joined here with my co-host, Ryan Gorman. And, you know, one of the first things I want to do, Cyrus, is really, and I ask this almost of everybody, is to delve into what your story is and how you progressed and, you know, became 100% into crypto.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex and Ryan, for inviting me to the show. I'm super excited, and I'm sure all the fans are really enjoying it because I've seen some of your videos already. It's really, really cool. So congratulations to both of you. It's a real honor. So a little bit about my background. I was always explaining this. My parents are Iranian and Swiss, and they essentially lost everything when they flew from Iran when the revolution happened. And unfortunately, back then, there was nothing on ledgers, right? You didn't have any wealth. You didn't have identity on the chain. You didn't have anything. So I always had that, you know, type of risk-averse type of person where I like, okay, I have to make a, you know, good way of living and then diversify it in something, right? So unfortunately, I got into banking, or fortunately, I don't know. In Switzerland, I was looking for different jobs throughout the world, and I went in private banking. But I was a big fan of tech, essentially, and I just didn't feel that coming. Then I left to work mainly for different hedge funds. Those are more systematic type of hedge funds, like CTAs and things like that. And after a decade, I was always servicing that, you know, 1% of that pyramid, and I was always like, oh, I really would one day hopefully, you know, serve the 99% and really find a massive purpose. Didn't really know more about blockchain. I'm not the guy who got in 2011 or 12. I got in quite late. I heard about it, but as a finance guy, I was like, yeah, it looks like a cool toy, but not much to it. Until the day actually I understood the technology behind it. And my dad being in Iran, impossible for me to send any funds, right? Even out of Switzerland. So one day, my cousin says like, well, just, you know, send him some Bitcoins or send, you know, some Bitcoins to this guy and he'll buy him your present. I'm like, what do you mean send him some Bitcoins in Iran? You can't do that. He's like, what do you mean? Of course you can. You know, a lot of people in Iran, we've been mining forever and we actually, you know, get to pay a lot of different things through Bitcoin, like alcohol and all the different other type of things. That was in 2015. And that's how I got in. I was like, okay, well, I'll buy some Bitcoins to buy my dad a birthday present and, you know, send it over to this guy and he'll eventually give him a bottle of scotch. And that's exactly how, you know, I got into crypto and more importantly in 2016 when, you know, I started to understand what was behind a smart contract. And, you know, that beautiful Ethereum sign, I said, okay, now it's not only about money, it's about actually developing apps and being able to make that blockchain not just a ledger for just simple transactions, but you could actually create whatever you want on it. So this is where I started to understand like, okay, this is now where I could reach that 99%. And with the background I have in finance, maybe we could create, you know, wealth management solution for everyone. And that's when I jumped full on in the rabbit hole. And since then, never turned back. And I'm super proud and I'm glad that I made that move.
That's great. And your background is exemplary, I think, you know, in terms of some of the financial institutions and the experience you bring to the crypto space. And, you know, tell us more about SwissBorg and that solution, that wealth management platform that you've created for the 99%, please.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, you know, the big mission at SwissBorg is bringing wealth management to everyone, right? By making it accessible, by making it fair, so transparent, by making sure that people know about the fees you're taking, and at the end, making it fun. Because it's quite weird that the average person would spend maybe 10 to 15 hours per year to just buy the new TV, but would spend less than 1 hour to actually look on, you know, wealth solutions and investing in general. This one of the reasons is because it's not fun, and that's really something we're trying to really pursue is educating people with this edutainment mode, and exactly what you're doing, guys, today. I mean, this 10 years ago, maybe CNBC hosted some shows, but it's not like it was so much fun. The great idea, with SwissBorg is really that is how we could, as a community, get to educate this community, grow as a community, make sure that we only has a constant feedback with them, and develop the best wealth management solutions to them with the blockchain technology behind it. And that's what I think so we've been doing right now for 3 years. And this new wealth app is a bit the big showcase for it.
Yeah, you recently launched the app a couple months ago, correct? Would you mind showing us what it looks like, walking us through it a bit?
Yeah, take us through this.
That'll be great. I'll be scrapped to do that. So I think so the wealth app, if you guys see my screen, it's a very easy way for anyone to get into crypto. You on board within 10 minutes. Now we have launched in, I think, so over 70 countries, and we're about to launch the crypto-only solution to pretty much most countries in the world. Unfortunately, not in the US for the main legal reasons. It's very complicated to get licensed over there. And the idea here is that, you could deposit in, let's say, Swiss francs, but you could deposit in 12 different currencies, very soon 15 currencies, actually in your own name. So you really have an IBAN, a virtual IBAN with your own name that you could send it. You don't need to put a reference code and everything. So it's really, really cool. It's very easy to done within most European countries we work with. So essentially the wealth app, it's a great app that enables anyone to get access to crypto in a very easy way. And really the interesting part of it is that you could deposit in your own local currency. Today we accept over 12 local currencies with your own personal IBAN, which is really cool. So that's a feature that I think so it's really interesting. And then it's really good for newbies that essentially, can't really get into crypto in a very easy way, but as well for people that essentially are, more active investors and even good traders. Like in this example, SwissBorg token, you don't know much about it. You here have a lot of different videos that explains you the technology behind, the philosophy behind, and as well, very much important, the token, right? That's something that are important. You have a lot of different proprietary information about what's the token. And if you're not really comfortable of buying and not seeing like different, if you should sell it or buying, if you want to leverage your position or deleverage it, we have built on an hourly basis different indicators, which essentially enables you to invest like a pro, right? So this was really the thing where here you have a cyber predictor, essentially combination of some technical analysis with AI and some different parameters such as volume and different cool stuff as well. The SwissBorg indicator is more like trend following type. You have the community sentiment. It tells you a text on an hourly basis that is all automated with the different support and resistance. Essentially, it really enables you to be your cyborg advisor. That's where SwissBorg comes from, the name. And if you want to buy it, which is really cool, any of these pairs, and we'll be adding more and more, even if this pair doesn't exist, you'll see in this example, for example, I want to buy 100 francs of SwissBorg token. I can see what's the price right now. So it's near 3,417 tokens. If I'm not happy with that, well, I just confirm. And within a few milliseconds, you see that the trade has happened. And now everyone's wondering, but how do you do this? How do you build an exchange? And I say, no, we have built actually a meta exchange. We have took in consideration all the best exchanges here. And this is how it's done. So here you see exactly how it's done. We saw that 100 francs was essentially exchanged with dollars with Currency Cloud. Then the second stage, we went with 2 different trades from US dollars to Bitcoin, but from US dollars as well to Ether. And the final trade with HIT BTC, we went through Bitcoin and Ether to buying SwissBorg tokens.
Oh,
and
wow.
all of that, yeah, it's really cool. And that trade that would, those trades that would have took, I don't know, maybe, through a few minutes to some hours, it actually only took 0.14 seconds. So that is one of the very strong USPs, that essentially we're a meta exchange. We're on top of the best, essentially, crypto exchanges such as HitBTC, Kraken, Binance, LMAX, and then for fiat we have different ones as well. And that's the big idea, which is that, you know, bringing in these BEX exchanges together and being ordered to essentially get to buy and sell in the best way by profiting by doing aggregating these exchanges, but as well doing the smartest routes, because we see there that, for example, here 6 trades happen because essentially the, you know, exchanges are sometimes inefficient, especially in the crypto market, and we really take advantage strongly on that. So that's really one of the great things that we're adding to the table with the SwissBorg app, and I think it's one of the reasons people really like it as well.
Can you go in a little more to into the native token side of this, and what utility this is bringing to the users of the wealth management app?
Yeah, that's really a great one. Thanks for asking. So since the beginning, we really wanted to value the token economy, because a token could be everything and could be nothing, right? We have different classes. It could be a protocol, it could be utility token, it could be a security token, or it could be a shit token, or a shitcoin, whatever you want to call it. And I think so, you know, the token economy, which route you're taking, it could be a security token, very interesting, but it could be a very strong utility token. And it could then eventually be itself, you know, our own protocol. Binance, you know, BNB token is probably one of the best performing token for the last 3 years, and that's a great example, right? So inspired by these best different type of utility tokens, we thought about how we could really first give a voice to our community, and we essentially said, okay, why not creating a token where people could get voting rights, essentially, and we would organize referendums. And this is what we did in 2018, right after ICO, is we asked our community, do you guys want a wealth app mobile version, or you want a desktop version? And fortunately or unfortunately, time will say, we went for a mobile version because the mobile version won. And people, you know, obviously in the blockchain space, you know, love those governance rights. It's really a great way where you could show the community that they're actually owners of the essentially of the network, and that was the first way. So people could vote, and we pay them each time they vote, regardless of their vote. We always pay them out. Then there's the second big utility, which is the premium membership, and that's probably one of the reasons why right now there's a lot of traction. Essentially is that you don't pay any fees. So we don't have fees at all from fiat to Bitcoin, from fiat to SwissBorg token. So it's a great way, essentially, our SwissBorg token is that if you have 50,000 CHSB tokens, you essentially don't pay any fees at all. For most crypto activity we have. So all the people who love trading, obviously, for that, it's really good, and we're super happy, and we'll be adding more and more tokens and more different solutions. So that's something that, yeah, the staking mechanism works really well, and it's staking, it's not paying. So it's not like those 50,000 tokens that you pledge for 1 year, you get them back after a year. And you can see in this example that I've been pledging them now for 78 days, and I'll pay no fees until March 10th, 2021, essentially.
One thing I wanted to ask regarding the token is, you know, can you explain the difference, I guess, between a protect and burn versus a buyback, given some of the, I guess, vitriol towards buybacks in recent months?
Yeah. That's a great question. Thanks so much for asking that one, Ryan. The buyback programs, I think, is super cool. It shows you faith that you value your network and your token, and we really wanted to make sure that this is going to be on our program. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, we just had done one, I think, so 2 weeks ago, which was quite cool. It went well. And the idea is that we didn't want to do a buyback burn, but a protect and burn, which is slightly different. So this is the one we just did 2 weeks ago. And the idea is that buying back and burning, you could essentially time it. You could time it in both ways, but what we really want is to buy back on the market and sell it when we feel that there's a lack of confidence on the CHSB token. So what we do essentially is that on a 20-day moving average, whenever the token essentially breaks the support, well, all the revenues that we've accumulated into this program, we buy back it and we put it back up to that 20-day moving average. So we really want to make sure that essentially the SwissBorg token is always facing great momentum, and that's a good way essentially to protect and the tail risk of the SwissBorg token. And right now we have agreed that 20% of all the revenues generated on the Wealth app goes to this program, and that we're probably going to keep for a very long time. And it again shows, I think, so the confidence that we have that we're not, making revenues just for the sake of it, but actually to preserve the network and to really, make sure that our token price essentially increases.
It also gives a window into, a transparent window into how the company is doing financially, so people have yet even more confidence or more insight into why they should own the token. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
One of the things, ever since the couple of years that I've known SwissBorg and your team members over there and interacting is they use the word community comes up often.
Yeah.
And, this is something almost as if it's become part, I feel like it's part of the SwissBorg culture. Can you talk more to this sense of community and, why you guys have that value in the platform and with the members?
Yeah, I think so. It really came from this instance of there's two ways to go through this, right? Which is the regular way, which is having a CEO, shareholders, and having users. And this is a very lucrative way. I'm not against that model. We just believe at SwissBorg that it might not be the winning model. And I always take the example of Uber, right? Do you guys know if you know this, I'll give you one Bitcoin to each. Who knows the first taxi Uber driver?
Was it Travis?
Maybe.
No idea, man.
But obviously, right? Who knows the first tenant of Airbnb?
Right, yeah.
No one. Probably a cool guy in New York, right? but we don't know these guys. And these guys never got really rewarded. These guys, they created as users these platforms. They haven't created as shareholders, as investors, but they didn't make the 10,000, 100,000% on the first time they did their service. They just made the $20, $30 and that's it. And these guys were the best ambassadors or actually of that network, and they didn't earn anything. They earned just some fees out of it, which was cool enough.
The risk takers.
Yeah, but they were big risk takers, and that same taxi driver maybe has left now from Uber to Lyft and to Lyft to the next one, because essentially shareholders are saying, okay, I want to go for an IPO, I want to make more, increase the revenues, so I want you to essentially, take more and more fees on this peer-to-peer network. And at the end, Ali, or the first guy who was the tenant of the Airbnb, he sees, well, I'm moving to the next essentially shop because there's no token to it, right? There's the shareholders making a very big amount of money, but that's it. Where the Bitcoin and Ether, all of these ecosystems, why they have worked is because we're all incentivized as a miner, as a developer, as a user to benefit, and we're all attached to that. So I think so, coming from the finance world, it was exactly the opposite. You invest in grass, you don't invest in people, you don't invest in community. Not everyone, but mostly. I said, okay, we really have to do something different, and inspired by these different DEOs, we developed our own DEO, and this is, for example, one of a great platform that we put together where essentially you could become a member. You could see, you could do whatever you want on the platform. There's a lot of different missions. There's a lot of different roles that you could take, and you get rewarded, right? So these are real people. It's a small platform because we're scaling it up hopefully soon, but there's on a daily basis, if you want to right now, I don't know, help us to do a YouTuber in German about the Wealth app. Well, I think so. Someone just took this mission recently. Oh, yeah, it's open, but it's still open. But if you want to do it, you could just do it, and we're going to reward you. And sometimes some people from the community as well, they say, actually, guys, I really want to do this. Can I get I don't know, 10,000 CHSB or $50 for this or whatever. And we really tried to make this collaborative. And I think so that's, it's really important in the world that, you find your purpose. And obviously in the financial world, you want to make profits, but you have to understand very well the product and the philosophy behind it. And a lot of people, I think, so at SwissBorg, they understand that, well, how we're doing the things is in their right philosophy and how we serve their right purpose as well. So I think so that's something that we put a lot of time on it, but we think it's clearly, you do it more with the heart than only with your brain. I would say that perhaps.
I think to that point, you guys initially launched, I guess, early launch was as a price prediction app, right? It wasn't just the management app, and that price prediction feature, it carries over not just from the SwissBorg token itself, but to Bitcoin. And why did you take that approach, I guess, versus just launching the wealth management app from the beginning?
To be honest, first it was too hard to create the whole smart exchange that we put in place. The smart engine, it took us a lot of time. So it was to make sure that we had something and where our community could grow and become smarter. And as you said very well, is that, oh yeah, man, I'm probably in top 100 right now, which is great. I just did it, 102. Because if you're in the top 100, you earn like 5 times more money. So the idea behind here was to educate our community. And we saw after 2017 that a lot of people got in the space, a lot of people got burned out. And we really wanted to make sure that we grow our community, but at the same time, we train them. And here it's just, the field, it looks very much like the Wealth app per se, but it's a game where you, on a daily basis, I would not know what to do right now, to be honest, so I won't play. But you essentially have to go, you're long or short, so you're bearish or bullish. And at the same time, you look at, the price prediction, what things are doing. So right now we can see that it's actually, it's a hard one. Because I presume that we're just between the resistance and the and the support. So it's a really good way where essentially you could forecast if you're going up or down. Let's say up in this case, but in terms of risk management, I'm not too sure, so I'll just put 1,000. And here you see that there's close to 115,000 people playing around the world, and the winner is actually winning almost the Bitcoin itself. And the others are winning these different prize pools. And there's a lot of cool games to essentially, get different badges, which actually are CHSB tokens. And all what you're earning here, you could actually withdraw it in the Wealth app. So we really wanted people to learn essentially how to look at the markets, how to trade, how to do risk management like that. When they graduate from this perspective, they learn the right habits. They essentially could, move into the Wealth app and not get burned directly in 2 seconds. Yeah.
You guys launched the actual trading version of the Wealth app at a pretty precarious time, right? So we're talking late April of this year. We have, the world pandemic going on. I know that the launch was scheduled before we kind of went into a coronavirus type environment, but it almost feels like it was advantageous. It was because people were looking for things to do, and when you introduced the app to them, they almost became they became captive to it, right? And so, I mean, do you feel that your timing of the launch was a help or a hindrance? I mean, I view it as a help, but want to get your views, and if you guys, were like, oh crap, this stuff's happening.
I mean, I would say it's a little bit of both. The hardest part is that we didn't have like the party launches, right? It's been like, 3 years we're thinking about launching this product, and 2 years we've been working really hard on it, and there was no like product launch party, things like that. Which I think so in terms of morale of most people at SwissBorg, you feel that baby blues type of thing. Uh, that's for sure. Because again, we like to have fun as well at SwissBorg. You work hard, we like to have fun.
I think the last time I was out in public, and I think we were together in London, and it was 2 weeks before the launch, right?
Yeah. And you didn't get Corona, no?
No, thank God.
Okay, so I'm very happy that I didn't shake your hands because I got Corona.
Oh, geez. So did Ryan, by the way. So I mean...
Okay. Oh, shoot. Yeah. So I just came back from London a few days after. I was like feverish and all of that. So again, I think so the launch itself, I hope for you, Ryan, it was not too bad, the Corona. But yeah, how was it?
Great. It was the longest 3 weeks of my life, but it's gone. So it's
okay. Yeah.
Good. So.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, me too. 3 weeks, same thing. So I think so. Yeah, I mean, the launch itself, like everything you face in startups and in crypto world, you just have to adapt very quickly to new legislations in your life, right? And I think so. It went okay. We're definitely hoping to now grow more and more, especially that we're going to soon offer this to more countries, and there's going to be more tokens as well and more utilities within it. And we're definitely going to grow, but our community, our close community, obviously are very much in love. We're on the charts, we're I think so at 4.8 or 4.9 on Android and on iOS. So people are extremely happy and they're using it a lot, and we have a very strong rate of retention. It's over 70%, I think so. So that those signs really show that we're on a very good path, I would say. Then you always need a bit more time to let people convert and come into to use new products, I would say.
Yeah.
So you launched as just an app versus having a desktop interface as well. What was behind the decision to go mobile only from the start?
Yeah, so I mean, right after the ICO, we had a referendum, and essentially with the tokens that you have, you're able to vote on the blockchain. And essentially, I think so we had 52% that voted for a mobile version and 48% that voted for a desktop version. So we obviously had to stick to the mobile version. And
I mean, that's a close margin right there.
Yeah. Desktop was winning, and I was like, yeah. And just to defend myself is that first, coming from a more trading perspective, most people are on desktops. And where Anthony, the co-founder, he was on the opposite. Like, you don't get it. It's all about mobile. Everything's about mobile. Like, yeah, but and I just thought that was going to be much faster to develop, and obviously it would have been. And now we have mobile, so I'm super excited. And hey, I'm doing it on mobile. It's great.
Very cool. I mean, one of the things I want to get before we go is, what is your short-term and long-term outlook with the retail crypto market? I mean, that's essentially the market that drives you guys. What are you seeing, and what is your sentiment and feelings about it, both now and let's call it a year from now?
So we're in a very interesting part. Right, we went from this 2017 to 50x, 30x, and all these projects going a little bit weird to the desperate crypto housewives of 2018, 2019, where everyone was crying. It was like, I used to be a millionaire. No, you didn't used to be a millionaire. You were a millionaire for 2 months. Okay, so that's not being a millionaire. Okay. to now a market where we're having more and more products that are being shipped, which is great. We're having more and more usage of different blockchains with the DeFi picking up, not on institutional level, but at least picking up. We have the institutional level, which is definitely picking up with all these derivative markets that are growing and are changing a bit the market in a good and bad way, obviously, like always. And we're seeing more and more, I would say, products like such as loans and yields, you know, carry and you know, proof of stake generating as well yields. And I think so. We're getting there. And you know, from our perspective, what we want to offer very soon at SwissBorg is theme-based investments. That's really the bigger goal, right? If you believe in proof of stake, well, essentially we will build the theme of different cryptos that are proof of stake, and we'll be rebalance that portfolio on a weekly, monthly basis, but where you own actually the tokens, not a piece of a fund, right? And with that is the same, we're going to very soon offer most probably some capacity of doing some smart lending. So you get some yield with carry, but at the same time, some of your margin would be traded on Bitcoin. So seeing more and more type of products that have a real, you know, a real diversification perspective, and where people could essentially get to invest in a better way. And that's definitely what we're bringing to the table, but it looks like other people's are doing the same and are trying at least to do the same. And I see that, yeah, definitely growing. And you see it a lot in Europe, but as well Asia and definitely the States is very big from the trading perspective.
Well, very cool. You know, I'm congrats on the launch, and I hope you guys continue to crush it. I'm glad. I see. Are you back in the office there? I see you guys.
Yeah, we're back in the office. Yeah, it's cool. Cool.
Well, hopefully, I mean, life will return back to normal soon enough. But you guys are doing great work, and thanks for taking the time to, you know, really run through and explain what the SwissBorg product is, the community, and everything. And you know, I look forward to us having drinks in person again shortly.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alex and Ryan. It was a great pleasure to be on the show. And yeah, wish you all guys a great life. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Cyrus.
Take care, guys. Bye.